My friends, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for responding to my call for aid. YouTube is now reportedly placing a heavy emphasis on viewer engagement, saying that views without engagement count less or not at all with the algorithm. I shared this info with you and you responded in outstanding fashion, rallying to our banner here at the center of the earth. But the fight is not over. Please keep helping us out by clicking the like button on videos, leaving a comment, subscribing, or even sending a super thanks, as all of these count as viewer engagement and help us keep going on YouTube. Thank you so much for your support, my friends. And now, on to the video. Greetings, my friends. I am Dictor Van Doomcock, the future ruler of Earth, broadcasting from my hidden base at the center of the Earth, and I'm here today to share with you what really happened behind the scenes that resulted in ABC yanking Jimmy Kimmel off the air. This only happened 2 days ago, but we're already seeing this hit the media landscape like a tsunami, with some decrying this move by ABC and Disney as a capitulation to illegal government pressure through the FCC, and others applauding the move as ABC exercising its free speech rights not to have an employee of theirs run amok, mouthing off, serving their own agenda rather than the agenda of ABC. Now, thanks to some excellent reporting by The Hollywood Reporter, we know all the shit that went down in those frantic hours before Kimmel was set to record his Wednesday show, and some of the reasoning that went into this last-minute call to yank Kimmel off the air and suspend him indefinitely. We'll also examine whether or not Brendan Carr at the FCC was exerting pressure on Disney and ABC to make this move inappropriately. So, to review the basics, here's a summary of what happened. Following controversial comments from Jimmy Kimmel about the fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk, Disney decided to indefinitely suspend Jimmy Kimmel, remove his show from the air. Kimmel was seen by angry critics as trying to assign blame for this horrible crime inappropriately, stating conservatives were, quote, desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and with everything they can to score political points from it, unquote. Now, we'll examine the claim that pressure from the FCC was to blame for Kimmel's removal from the air in a moment, but here are some facts that are not open to interpretation. Kimmel's comments badly upset two important broadcast companies, Sinclair Incorporated and Nexstar. Sinclair Inc. posted the following on X explaining the situation. Due to problematic comments regarding the murder of Charlie Kirk in programming provided to broadcast stations by ABC, Sinclair and its partners, which operate ABC stations in 30 markets in the U.S., will stop airing Jimmy Kimmel's show until further notice. To make matters even worse, Nexstar took the same position, quote, ABC broadcast affiliate Nexstar said it would pull Kimmel's show from its 32 ABC stations for the foreseeable future in response to the comedian's comments. Andrew Alford, president of Nexstar's broadcasting division, called Kimmel's language offensive and insensitive at a critical time in our national political discourse in a statement, unquote.
So basically, you've got 62 stations saying they're refusing to broadcast Jimmy Kimmel live. Is this a substantial number of affiliate stations? How many affiliates does ABC have in total?
It was substantial, O Skull of Calderon. From what I've heard, they have somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 affiliate stations, so this was a substantial percentage. It was an affiliate uprising, and the thing about uprisings is they can spread. This was a substantial amount of pressure on Disney, make no mistake about that. Now, let's get down to what happened behind the scenes. In an article titled How Jimmy Kimmel's Suspension Went Down, Sponsor Panic, a Defiant Host, and a Painful Call, The Hollywood Reporter writes, quote, on Wednesday, Disney caved to pressure from various partners and benched Jimmy Kimmel live. Ultimately, the decision was Bob Iger's and Dana Walden's, but there was more leading up to it than previously reported. On Monday's episode of his long-running ABC late-night talk show, Jimmy Kimmel mocked MAGA Republicans for scrambling to distance their own ideologies from those of Charlie Kirk's alleged murderer, Tyler Robinson. In the days following Kirk's murder, the left and the right were quick to point fingers at each other over Robinson's perceived political leanings. The advertiser calls began to roll in, and then the big affiliate conglomerates Nexstar and Sinclair threatened to preempt the show, unquote. So as you can see, my friends, this was an immediate crisis for ABC. You have advertisers all riled up. You have affiliates refusing to air Jimmy Kimmel moving forward. It's a mess. At this point, Kimmel was told he needed to apologize to make all of this go away. See, apparently, that's all he had to do, apologize and quietly move on. I'm not sure whether or not that would have appeased affiliates, but that was the next step as far as Disney management was concerned. But apparently, Kimmel was not about to apologize. If anything, he was going to meet the controversy head-on with an on-air statement, a statement some are saying was intended to defiantly double down on what he said. Other sources disagree with this characterization. The Hollywood Reporter continues, quote, THR reported on Wednesday that Kimmel did not plan to apologize for his comments, but did plan to address the situation on air. A source at Jimmy Kimmel Live counters to THR that Kimmel's planned on-air address was not making it worse, but that he simply wasn't kowtowing to the outrage. Kimmel was defending what he said as being grossly mischaracterized by a certain group of people, the show source says. Well, none of that was what Bob Iger wanted. He wanted an apology. This was too volatile a situation for them to screw around with, indulging Kimmel's ego to the possible detriment of ABC. The article then continues, quote, talks between Kimmel and Disney ABC hit enough of a stalemate that executives there decided Wednesday's episode of Jimmy Kimmel Live had run out of time to be salvaged. The show's live-to-tape time was not far off. The studio audience was lined up outside but had not yet been brought in. So Bob Iger and Dana Walden, under considerable time pressure, made the only decision they could possibly make. They yanked Kimmel.
Yeah, well, with all this shit going down all around them, with Kimmel not playing ball, what the hell else could they do? Iger made the right call here. It was a painful call, according to THR, but under the circumstances, an apology was the only move that made sense. Kimmel wouldn't do that, so that's why he's off the air. But what about this situation with the FCC and Brendan Carr?
Many are running around claiming it was Carr who bullied ABC into taking Kimmel off the air, and I can't really address that, Harvey, other than just showing you what Carr apparently said. Whether there was more pressure behind the scenes, I have no idea. But here's a transcript of what Carr supposedly said that has everyone stirred up, courtesy of Lauren on X. Quote, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. These companies can find ways to take action on Kimmel, or there is going to be additional work for the FCC ahead. Carr continued, they have a license granted by us at the FCC, and that comes with it an obligation to operate in the public interest. I think you could certainly see a path forward for suspension over this. The commission could argue Kimmel's remarks were an intentional effort to mislead the American people about a very core fundamental fact. Disney needs to see some change here, but the individual licensed stations that are taking their content, it's time for them to step up and say this garbage isn't something that we think serves the needs of our local communities. Unquote. And so, my friends, I leave it for you to decide for yourself. Was this inappropriate pressure from the FCC through Carr? Or was this stating that it appeared to be a sufficient cause for investigation for following FCC rules? I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a simple country supervillain, bewildered and confused by all these big city issues. That's apparently what Carr said. One thing seems fairly clear from this reporting. If Kimmel had apologized, as his bosses asked him to do, he'd almost certainly still be on the air. As it is, Kimmel made this bed, and now he's sleeping in it. The question is, will his indefinite suspension be lifted, and will he return to the air? There's pressure for and against that, my friends. I don't envy Disney, and only time will tell. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry.